Hey folks, we're here for TWiP Pro Photo Critique number 18. That's coming your way next. This is TWiP. All right, so TWiP Pro Photo Critique number 18. We're a little bit late this week because of the Memorial Day holiday, but nonetheless, we are here to record a fantastic show for you. I'm here with my friend, Mr. Troy Miller. Hey, Troy, how's it going, man?
Good, good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited to be to do the show. We're a little bit late, like I said, but it's for good reason. You know, Memorial Day holiday is always, you got to observe that and kind of shift your schedule a little bit.
Sure.
But what did you do for Memorial Day? Anything special?
I sat around in the backyard.
Did you?
Yeah, had friends over. We hung out. Did a little bit of editing.
No barbecue?
Cookies on fire.
Yeah, I know. Okay, we're going to talk about that a little bit. Well, cool. Well, this is going to be good. We got some interesting shots for this week's category. And what is this week's category?
Food.
Food. One of my favorite topics. Food.
Yeah.
So this is going to be good, and we're starting off with this sort of topical feel for these shows. So for these critique sessions. This one is food. You're going to reveal, I think, at the end of this what next week's.
We can, yeah, we can reveal it.
Yeah, good. Okay, well, let's do that. Well, let's just dive in, man. We've got some cool images to go through. The first one is from Howard, and he's titled this one, Tomatillo Upstages the Pepper. Tomatillo Upstages the Pepper. Here we go.
Yeah, this is great. I never knew what a tomatillo looked like.
Me either. I thought this was fake. I was looking at this. I was like, is this real?
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love tomatillo salsa. So I was like, now I know what it looks like. It's like a funky green tomato-y looking thing. So thank you, Howard, for
it's an alien.
It's alien. Yeah.
This is cool. I like this. You know what I like about these kind of shots? I like food shots. I think for me, I'm not a food shot expert. I'm no, Nicolesy, but these food shots for me look best with really shallow depth of field. So you're focused on the topic and very few elements. Like he's got the tomatillo, I guess that's a pepper or something in the background, and then a board, which adds that organic element, and everything else is kind of black. So I thought that was kind of cool. What did you think?
No, I love the concept. I like the shallow depth of field. He's got this amazing focus. Even the tomatillo itself has shallow depth of field on that subject, which I think is great. Where I'm kind of struggling with this image, and let me move this over here so I can see it, is the hot spot on the right-hand side on the board. Is really, and the sort of the hot spot on the pepper that's interacting with the highlight of the tomatillo. So, if that pepper had been cut open, it would be dark. And I think the depth of field is maybe a little too shallow because the background's kind of hard to see. It's kind of hard to tell what it is. But, if this was a commercial shot, maybe that lower right corner or that bright spot was for copy or something, then that would fit perfectly, like if it was going in a magazine or something. But great control of lighting, tells the story perfectly. And now I know what a tomatillo looks like.
Yeah,
and a good representation of it too. It's great.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I kind of like it. I mean, I could see this in a food magazine or on a menu or something. It's crisp, and I like the saturation. I don't know.
Yeah, I do. No, it's well handled. Yeah, it's well handled. When I was doing when I thought about what to photograph, I was going to go to the grocery store and just look for like weird fruits or something like that, and then I didn't. But this is something I would have picked. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. No, good work. Good work. All right. Well, cool. So let's move on to the next image here. The next one is also from Howard. He calls this one Tomatillo on hardwood.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to guess that's black walnut. That's the wood that it's on.
Let's bring that up here. Oh, let's get the wrong one up. Let me bring that one up here. Here we go. All right, here we go. Tomatillo. Yeah, you think that's walnut?
Yeah, I think that's black walnut. That stuff smells awesome when you cut it.
Smells like walnut.
We get so distracted.
I thought you were going to say this shot would have been great if there was just a model kind of popping up out of the hole on the top of the tomatillo.
like one of those alien pods.
It does.
Pod there.
It totally does. Yeah, don't put your face close to it.
This is probably my favorite of his two shots, even though there's a few things that I would fix. I mean, I like this simpler top-down composition. If I knew what a tomatillo looked like, then I would recognize that, but because I don't, it would be hard to see. But it's just a cool-looking vegetable anyway.
Yeah.
But on my monitor, I don't know how it looks on yours, but it looks like the tomatillo is a little bit overexposed. Like the highlights are a little bit hot. Mm-hmm. They're blown out a little bit. And then the depth of field control is awesome, except for that front right corner where the crack is in focus. And I'm assuming that that's closer to the camera. So, the board's tilted or something, and he's shooting on a bit of an angle, and that happens, and that brings that lower right corner in focus. Yeah. So I would say take that out of focus. You can just use like a linear gradient in Lightroom or Capture One or something, and then just pull the sharpness down, and that would soften that problem, or that would get rid of that. But I love the top-down shot. That's really cool.
Yeah, no, I like that. That is a unique angle. I like the colors. You blow your eyes kind of and look at it, and it's just, these warm greens and the warm wood and the shallow depth of field. Definitely. I don't know. I like it. I like simplicity, I guess that's what it is. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I agree with you. So the crack in the wood, I don't know if that was intentional, but that is my eyes going there, right?
Nice leading line. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why if it wasn't sharp, and maybe if it was burned down a little bit, your eye would follow that line and then come back to the center, mm-hmm. Or come back to the subject. But the leading line thing is really cool. Might be interesting to flip this horizontally and put your subject on the right so that the space is on the left. I think that it might be a little bit more aesthetically pleasing because that's the way that our brains kind of read into things. Mm-hmm. All that extra space on the right, it feels like something is missing, as opposed to, I think if you flipped it, it would feel better. Just try it. Just kind of see. But anything like this, I always flip them just to kind of see how they look and feel.
Yeah. It feels like, but this is definitely, I can see text on the right there, right?
Sure.
I can totally see some text being overlaid on the right on this one.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. I dig it. Nice shot, Howard. Nice.
All right. You win when Troy says he digs it. So.
Uh-oh. The pressure.
All right, but how do you feel about Vegemite?
I've never tried it. I want to try it. I've never tried it.
That's the next shot up, and this one is from Craig Stampley. He calls this Vegemite on toast.
Yeah. This is there was a little bit of chatter about this one in the Slack Pro community, and somebody was talking about Vegemite and what it tastes like and stuff. And now I want to taste it. Now I need to try. And this photo makes it appetizing to me to want to try. Right, mm-hmm. Like it. I love the fact that the story that's going on here. Whether it's a commercial shot or this is maybe his backyard or a cafe somewhere. You've got the parakeets or cockatoos or. Mm-hmm. I'm not a bird knower.
Yeah, cockatoos. I would bet cockatoos.
But the knife, it's clear that it had just been spread on the toast. There's a bite. The lid is open. That's very intentional. I love the coffee cup is turned so I can see the handle. Like you want to reach out and grab it. Things are different depths within the image. The Vegemite's a little softer. The toast is sharper. I love all of that. I think that's great. I do see two images in here, though, and I think that the upper part of the image really isn't adding anything to this in this situation. I think if you were to crop it off just above the handrails, we could really focus in on the sandwich or the toast. Mm-hmm. As a commercial shot, but as sort of a lifestyle shot, then you need the birds and you need that upper part of the image, and maybe burn it down a little bit. It's a little bit hot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I after we talked about this a little bit offline before we started recording, and I agree. Now that I look at it, I was like, why would you want to crop the birds out? But yeah, you want to focus the attention down onto the subject in the foreground. When I blur my eyes again and I look at this kind of shot, I see the lines in here. Did you notice the lines? So you got the lines on the table, between the planks, and then you got the lines on the stainless steel on the railing there, and then the vertical almost lines on that chair over there. And if you crop down from the top, those lines I think would be more obvious that they kind of form this cage for the food, which is kind of cool. And then I probably would have thrown I like the bokeh on this, but I probably would have thrown a little bit of a vignette on that if I cropped it down a little bit of it, just to draw your eye even more into the food and the Vegemite. I don't know, something about that word Vegemite. I don't know. It doesn't sound good. I had never had Vegemite, but that word just doesn't make. Maybe because as a kid, veg is vegetable, and mite is not good. MITE. That's like a bug. So yeah. Vegetables and bugs. I don't know. There's for some reason.
Well, this is in Australia, so I don't know. But it comes with B vitamins. It says so.
Okay. Well, there are other ways to get B vitamins.
Yeah.
It's probably good. I need to get some. Can you even get Vegemite here in the United States?
I don't know. My buddy, Peter Lepshin, who was just on your show, he came back from Australia. I wish I could remember. There's these cookies, these absolutely amazing, addictive cookies that I guess are native to Australia. Like, you can get them here sometimes, but he brought back like 20 packs of these things, and they're just super delicious.
Really?
So absolutely no information in that statement at all, other than the fact that Australia has Vegemite and these cookies, which I don't know what they're called.
Have you ever been down there? You ever been to Australia or New Zealand?
No.
I hear Australia and New Zealand are basically the same place. No. I'm kidding. Aussies and Kiwis. I am completely kidding. I know that you guys,
they love each other.
Yeah, you have a rivalry. All right, cool. All right, let's move on to the next one. The next shot is, let's see. This is from Andrea, and she has titled this one "Cherry Me." Cherry Me. Let's bring that up.
Cherries and a pomegranate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very interesting.
And cherries in the background, cherries in the foreground, and a pomegranate hanging out there.
Yeah, and no heavy Photoshop work on this one.
No? Can you tell?
No. I mean, she normally, the last few, she's done some composite-y stuff.
Yeah, she's done some more artistic stuff. This one's pretty, this is like art study. Like, you take this photo and paint it.
Yeah. No, I dig it. Just looking around. Oh, maybe she did put a layer in there. I see some signature-y type
down in the
stuff
lower
in the lower left corner.
Yeah,
she may have put a texture over there.
Yeah.
These fruit studies and stuff are just like whether you're photographing a landscape or you're photographing a portrait. We need a center of focus. We need a depth. We need, middle ground, foreground, background, lighting, direction of lighting, things like that. This is a very cool shot. I mean, I really like what's going on in here, but I would suggest that in an image like this, I mean, if you're going to highlight the cherry, then your subject behind that needs to not dominate. Mm-hmm. And the pomegranate is really dominating in here just because of the hot spot and the fact that it has a sharp area, right? Like, it's soft in the bottom part, but it's sharp in the center. So that's distracting because our eye comes in from the top left, reads across the image, looks at the pomegranate first, and then comes down to the cherry. And then it's just going to bounce around there. So, watching those highlights lead you to your subject. Maybe bring down the hot spots on the cherries themselves a little bit. Bring those tones down just a tad. Yeah. Specular highlights can be difficult to control, and they attract your attention in ways that maybe you don't want.
Right. No, I agree. How do you feel about these kinds of shots anyway? Because we in a previous show we were talking. Put us back on the screen here. Oops, went down to the wrong one. In a previous shot, we were talking about just story, and in one of the previous TWiP episodes, we've been talking about digital storytelling. So it's been kind of a theme. So these kinds of shots, which are clearly, on the scale of, with digital storytelling being on the left and artistic being on the right, this is more artistic, where you appreciate it for the content that's there and kind of appreciate the interplay of light and shadow and the color and all that. Where do you fall on this? I mean, you enjoy these kinds of shots that don't necessarily tell a story or have a message to give, where they're just, you look at them and enjoy them for what they are?
I do. No, I love that. It's like walking through a gallery and seeing a painting of a bowl of fruit. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's relaxing. It's kind of cool. It's interpretive of the artist. I like to think that when I look at things like this, that the creator, the creative individual, looked at this and said, "I want the cherry right there. I want the pomegranate right there. I want these cherries in the background." And they spent some time on it, maybe, or they came across this and it really was inspiring to them.
Yeah.
And so there's part of that person in this image, and I'm trying to look for the story. Mm-hmm. A lot of my comments and critiques are just to kind of maybe help that person focus that story better.
Yeah.
Right. Like, where's the light? Do we need to crop the upper top of the image or the lower top of or the bottom of the image? Things like that. Mm-hmm. But I like them. I like both ways. I love abstract, nonsensical, hard to follow images. I just like them for what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do too. I mean, this is what we do, right? We're photographers. We create images and all that. And I'm trying not to be too myopic in that everything has to have a story or it's not real, right? Some things are you enjoy them on face value, like this one, or they're designed to evoke a feeling from you. And
right.
Yeah. So, or you look at it for like I was saying before, the interplay of light and shadow and how is that working, or what was the artist thinking? If you get too deep into a shot like this, like say that this was in an art gallery with a bunch of eggheads in there, they're going to be like, well, what Andrea was trying to say was the large pomegranate represents, society at large, and the small cherries are, the people that are in society that are battling against the clearly dominant. So, right?
Hey, if that works for you, more power to you. But, sometimes it's just picture of breakfast.
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just, hey, this is where I get to have breakfast and you don't.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, that's
one of my favorite statements that I read on this gal's Instagram was, I live where you vacation. And I thought that was so harsh.
Wait, you wrote that?
No. This gal that I followed, she was from Jamaica, and she was always showing like the beaches and all these places that she went. Yeah. And one of her lines in her bio was, "I live where you vacation," and I thought that hurts.
Yeah.
But I want to keep watching.
Yeah. Your life sucks and mine doesn't.
Yeah.
All right, next one is another one from Andrea. This one's called Bountiful.
Yeah. This feels infrared-esque. I'm wondering if she shot it infrared or if she just filtered it to be infrared.
Yeah. Well, you're the infrared expert. You know this stuff, right?
It's in this case, it's very difficult to tell because if all of these are fairly the same color, you can pull that one color and make it look infrared. So it's kind of hard to tell. There's obviously, I see a tomato and I see some peppers. So, if the peppers were yellow, you could pull the yellow and then the red would kind of go a little darker and it would feel infrared-esque. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I like the black and white treatment. I think that we have a little too much space on the bottom, and the image doesn't feel sharp to me. So I don't think it's in focus. I think that the focus is lost in there somewhere. Because I think that the front third, like the tomato or the center pepper, should be where the focus is, and then some depth of field to kind of hold that. So anytime that we don't have focus, it's really hard. Our brains are looking for things that are in focus and
fighting it. Yeah.
What
do you think of her the matting she did on this, or the framing? So she's got a white border or background with the black photo with a white stroke around it, and then a drop shadow that's going down and to the left. What do you think about that?
I say this with the kindest voice I can, and that I don't like it at all. It feels gimmicky to me. It doesn't fit in the real world. It's not a mocked up wall scene where a shadow is appropriate. It just doesn't. Well, but the best way to say it is, I guess, is it doesn't add to the image. It doesn't add to the overall visual of this thing.
Right.
And that's fine. I mean, you've got to experiment with it and you got to try it and see how it works. But drop shadows can oftentimes just be confusing.
Yeah. Especially, my brain wants a drop shadow to go down and to the right for some reason. I don't know why. Like the light source should always be on the upper left, and the drop shadow should be on the lower right. Yeah, and I agree with you. If you're like, what's the reason for this implementation? Maybe Andrea, you can explain this to us in TWiP Pro.
Yeah.
But is it, was this part of a series where all of the images were framed and matted with a stroke like this for a particular reason, or for continuity purposes, or why? So yeah, but I agree. The image itself, you don't want to detract from the image itself with the presentation. Like the job of a frame, or even a physical frame on your photo, is to make it look better and to improve the presentation, and not to take away from it. So, but thanks for submitting this. This is
very cool. Yeah. Very cool shot.
Yeah.
And
I want to know if it's infrared too. Please let us know if this is infrared or not.
Yeah. Yeah, and rose to the challenge, like went out and shot food,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she shot it for this or if she had it and pulled it out, but, I love that.
Yeah, I love it. People are following the rules and shooting what we say shoot. The next one is peach cobbler. I love peach cobbler, by the way. I love peach cobbler. My mom used to make the best peach cobbler on the planet. Now my sisters do, but they live in Illinois, and I can't get it. So this is
Illinois. They live in Illinois.
Yeah, this is peach cobbler from Kyle Nishioka. What did he peach? No, let me read the full title that he's got on this. Stretch this window out. Yeah, peach cobbler, plum and cherry cup pie is what this is.
Yeah. Wow, there's a lot going on in this shot. This is kind of cool. I don't know what it's on. Is that like rock candy or something? Maybe. Very colorful.
Yeah, that could add. Yeah, maybe rock candy or something.
Yeah, very colorful.
Some kind of crystals. Yeah.
I'm wondering, did he shoot this for this, or did he pull this out of his archive? I think there was a description in Slack that maybe alluded that maybe alluded to that, but it's definitely appetizing. It's one of those things that you're like, ooh, mm-hmm. I want to reach in. I want that little raspberry right there, or the blueberry or whatever. So I love that.
Right.
I'm struggling with focus maybe on the right a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And images like this are tough because there's no depth, right? It's really hard to have depth in this image the way that it's shot. It's all lined up. If you'd step to the left a little bit or the right and kind of shot across it, create some depth of field in there, or maybe just focused on the peach cobbler as opposed to both dishes, because that gets kind of busy,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then cutting off the dish on the left. It'd be ideal if we didn't cut that dish off. Include the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, this is interesting. It depends on what the intent was for the shot to begin with, right? If this is just a snapshot, you're at a friend's party or something, you put this out and you want to capture a shot of it just to remember it, that's one thing. But if this was a commercial shoot, or something that you wanted to pass off as more professional, then my first reaction is a little bit more like you were saying. I think you probably want to change your angle a little bit. And what's the subject? Is the subject all three? And if the subject is all three, maybe this needs to be 4 shots in terms of there's 3 shots and then a shot of them all together. That sort of show that. Like on the far left there, I'd want to see more detail on what's in that plate. Like I have to really squint to kind of get a feel for what's in there. Same for the other 2 dishes. But if I had a blown up, shallow depth of field, saturation kicked up a notch, a little clarity in there, then it would come into my brain in a little bit more context. And then if there's 3 shots, then with this particular shot as the anchor, then it would all make sense. But again, it depends on the purpose, right? So if the purpose of this was just to shoot it just for the heck of it, then it's fine. But if you're trying to go a little bit further, then those, probably making those changes would go a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. And, food is like a landscape. When you photograph food, it's like photographing a landscape. You've got to think about what subject in focus, what lens do I use, how close do I get, how much depth of field do I need, do I go in tight, do I just give a little reveal, do I show the whole thing, and then how do I do that in a way that is pleasing to your eye to read through the scene?
Yep.
Food photography, like legit high-end food photography, is really difficult.
No, that's an art. Yeah, that is definitely an art, which was kind of a challenge for this. And admittedly, that was a challenge for this particular topic. And I shared a URL, a website that you gave me. I put that in TWiP Pro with some examples. Yeah. And it was looking at those shots. You could take a full day to get the right shot, and then they use all kinds of little tricks like things to make the food look better that aren't really food, and all kinds of little things in there to get the right look that they're going for. This is good. All right, so let's move on here. Let's see. Let's go back up here. So the next shot is from Mark Har. He calls this one Workshop Lunch. Workshop Lunch.
Yeah, so now it's 12:30, and now I'm hungry.
Now I'm hungry. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So my thoughts on this. I'll start. So my thoughts on this. This is a snapshot. So this isn't like this is like a phoned in shot where you're like, let me just throw a shot in there. There's nothing wrong with it, obviously, but this is more of a hey, Mark, document the lunch for us so that we can show the client that lunch was served kind of thing. This is not an artistic sort of shot. And not to say that there's anything wrong with it in terms of what it is, but it's not artistic. What do you think of it?
He had a comment, I think, that day was models and shooting and things. So I'm wondering if it's like a workshop or a shoot or whatever.
I'm guessing that's what it is. And by the way, Mark, I want to go on that shoot because the food looks delicious. I want to be there eating this food and shooting models. It sounds like a great day. But,
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding.
How come you didn't give the models some food and take a photo of them with the food? What's the matter with you?
What I was going to say was, it's like, what about getting one of those tacos and just make it all messy and having one of the sexy models or, whatever, just taking a big bite out of it, looking at the camera like, you know what, this is lunch. You're missing out.
That's like a Carl's Jr. commercial. That's what that sounds like.
Yeah, or throw the spoons in there and let them bounce around as you take the shot, so it's all blurry and stuff.
Yeah.
I know. That's what my brain does every day. When I see
bounce around randomly.
No, it's like how do I make this scene work for me? But I'm troubled that the font on the chicken and the other container, the ground beef, aren't the same font.
I couldn't even read the other one. I'm glad you figured it out. Ground beef. Okay. Nice. All right. Cool. All right. Let's move on to the next.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. That was awesome. Let's move on to the next one. This one, speaking of inside Troy Miller's mind, is from Troy Miller. And Troy Miller calls this one Hot Cookie.
Yeah.
Hot Cookie. What's that about, man?
Well, Margie makes these amazing chocolate chip cookies, and
so you decide to light one on fire. Oh, that's love right there, Marjorie. That's love.
It smelled amazing.
That's a nice flame, though. I like that.
Cookies burn a long time. Cookie burn a long time. Yeah. If you're out in the desert or somewhere and you need to make a little fire, just use some of that cookie. And lighter fluid. There was judicious amounts of lighter fluid.
Wow. Did you have a statement behind this shot, or were you were just in pyro mode?
I love things that have a weird juxtaposition, and the idea of things being on fire or out of context. I just love that, and that goes back to kind of like what you asked when we looked at Andreas about the the whether it's an interpretation, is there a story there or whatever. Mm-hmm. I just like things that don't belong together, and this idea that a cookie's on fire, it's not a normal thing. No. That's where my head goes. Yeah,
you definitely don't see that every day. You do not see that every day.
Yeah, dandelions, and they all need to be on fire. So
All right. That's awesome. That's a little scary, Troy Miller.
I took a picture of a dandelion on fire and I sent it to my friend, and she's like, "Great! Now my little boy saw that, and I've got to tell him that Troy's lighting the wishing flower, on fire."
Oh God, yeah, that was cool. I like it though. I mean, this is cool. Did you do this outside?
No, I did it in my garage.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. It's sitting on a railroad, like a piece of railroad track.
Is there any lighting on there, or is just the light on the cookie is coming from the flame?
There is a little bit from the window in the garage. You can see on the underneath side, on the right side of the cookie, you see it's kind of a blue light. It's a little bit cool.
Yep.
And that was from the shadow light coming into the garage window. That was intentional to give that a little bit of color separation and contrast there.
Mm-hmm. And Troy, on a shot like that, what would you do with that shot? Like, what's the goal? Was it just for fun and practice? Or are you going to print it and make it big, or what do you think?
No, it's just for me. It's just sort of a creative outlet. I'm a creative 24/7, so I sit and look at things and think, oh man, the buttons on my Stream Deck are amazing. If I changed all the icon, I could photograph this, so I think of that kind of stuff. And then I have these little studios set up out in my garage where I'll do, things on fire or sparks or stuff like this. And I have drawers full of little things, gears and that I want to photograph at some point. If a drill dies, I take the drill apart and I look for weird things inside of it that I want to photograph. And it's really just me sort of exploring imagery in ways. And I always like the idea of what hasn't somebody seen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you shock people a little bit, or take them out of their comfort zone?
Yeah, I love landscapes, and I like standing in tripod holes of photographers that came before me and just sort of experiencing that moment. But everybody's seen that, Horseshoe Bend and, Half Dome and stuff. Like, they've all seen that. But who has seen a cookie on fire?
That's right.
Right? Like, that's what I dig. I dig that. And like Don Komarechka's stuff. I love the fact he's photographing subjects with weird light and snowflakes and
requires no travel or very little travel, right?
Yeah, and so that's why I do it. It's just sort of that creative expression, that outlet. Who knows? I mean, maybe someday I'll do a class on how to light cookies on fire. But
I think that's a great idea. All right, let's move on to the next one. We're on the home stretch here. Andres has submitted avocado toast. It's image number 9, avocado toast. Let's bring that guy up.
I got to say, this would be amazing without that avocado all over it.
Avocado just messes up the entire shot here.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not an avocado fan, but
you hate avocado? Really? What's the matter with you?
I don't eat avocado.
Oh,
yeah, no.
Love it.
No.
Guacamole. What's the matter with you? That's delicious.
Southern California, and I don't care for it. But I love the shot. I mean, this is really well done. The composition, the color combination, you got the lemon, the yellow down there, contrasting and complementing the green.
Yeah.
It's sharp where it needs to be sharp. I like how it's got a shallow depth of field. A little hot spot maybe above whatever that. What is that, cheese or something at the top?
It looks like sour cream right here.
Yeah.
Right at the top there. Yeah.
Would you put sour cream on there? Maybe. But a little hot at the top, maybe vignette that down, but, great shot.
Yeah, it does look. I'm starving right now, and that looks
very well handled. Yeah, the composition is very well handled. Little too much space on the left. You can crop that in just a bit, balance it to the right. But I like it. I like the water, the wet that's on there. It's nice.
Yeah. No, he did a good job. It looks delicious. I wonder if this was staged like this, or did he put it together, or was this like lunch? And you're like, oh, that looks good, and I gotta submit this to TWiP PRO and take a shot of it, or was it intentionally arranged with the sea salt on the plate and the lemon and all that stuff?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You'll have to let us know.
You'll have to let us know. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Well done, though. Yeah, well handled. I like that.
Speaking of well handled, last shot here is from Nick. Images by Nick. He hasn't titled this one, but we could probably title this one, I think. Let's bring it up here.
Melting sorbet.
This is TWiP. Okay, that was the edit point. I hit the wrong button. Let me start that again. 1 second.
Oh, hang on.
What?
You know, your video on my end is frozen.
It is?
Yeah. But is it okay on your end?
It's okay on my end. Yeah, it's recording.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Don't have to worry about that.
All right. Interesting. All right, I'm going to start this piece again. Here we go. All right, so this next image is by Images by Nick. He doesn't have a title for this one, but I think we can pick a title for it. Let's see. Let me bring it up here. All right, there we go. How does that look?
Sorbet in sunlight or something.
Yeah, let's call that, yeah.
It's melting sorbet. See, this is an image that I want to get in so close that you can't even tell what it is. Just the landscape of the frost and the drip and the melt. And
yeah,
that's where I want to go. And I want one of these because that looks delicious.
It does. It does.
I will say, you know, with an image like this, it's that bright white background is very distracting. It's drawing a lot of attention away. It looks like the light's coming from camera left, which is nice. We got some direction of light. Everything's not everything's in focus. I was going to say it looks like it's mostly in focus. The big dollop on the top, the very foreground of that looks like it's slightly out, but maybe not. I wonder if this was like focus stacked or something to put all that together.
Maybe. I was looking at this and I was thinking a couple things. So I want that drip that's on the left side. I want to see more of that. So I'd want that a little bit more sort of twisted towards the camera, and just to sort of make it an element of the photograph that this is melting ice cream.
Right.
The ice cream cone itself is slightly off center to the right a little bit, but the frame is square, or relatively square. I think the image is 4500 by 3888. So it's a relatively square image, but we've got the ice cream not exactly in the rule of thirds on the right. Not that you have to be over there, but in a shot like this, it probably would have felt better if it was more symmetrical with the ice cream right in the middle there. And the other thing I was thinking is, this is a shot that I think is more of a like I could see 15 shots like this, of different ice cream. This is like this is a set. This is part of a set that would be at a Baskin Robbins or Ben Jerry's or whatever, where you're demonstrating all these kinds of ice cream that are there, and not with the intent of making any artistic statement or anything like that. It's very clean. To me, it's very clean. It's very delicious. I may have made it a little bit more saturated, but that's just me. But it. It's very documentary, commercial photography style. So, which is nothing wrong with that. That is not a negative at all. That's it definitely has its place in a menu or on signage or on a poster inside of an ice cream parlor or something like that. So pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely cool. Yep, yeah. Do just crop that a little bit differently. More drips would be nice. Yeah, I agree. Light it on fire.
Light it on fire. Actually, that would kind of be cool.
That would look amazing.
You could probably do that in post, though. I mean, just to save yourself some time.
No, it doesn't look the same. They just drench it in lighter fluid and light it on fire and shoot away.
I dare you. I'm throwing down the gauntlet, Troy Miller.
Nick'll do it. I know Nick. Nick'll do that.
I dare one of you guys to submit a photo of some flaming ice cream to TWiP Pro. Show me,
okay.
Prove to us that you have the chops to shoot flaming ice cream.
All right. God, now.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm thinking it through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You're like, oh, maybe Photoshop is better.
No. Photoshop flames don't look right.
Yeah.
Nope.
All right. You think you can handle that? I'm throwing down the gauntlet, man.
Yes,
that's a challenge.
Of course.
That's a challenge for you. Can he do it, ladies and gentlemen? You heard it. He accepted the challenge.
All right. I'm going to write it down on a sticky note right now. I got my sticky note out.
Flaming ice cream.
Yeah.
Flaming ice cream. And it's got to be in a cone, too. So none of this bowl stuff.
Getting picky. I think you should do one, too.
No, it's got to be, yay. You're the one who said it. So it's got to be in a cone. and it's got to be on fire. A bowl would be easy because you would just put some ice cream in there and douse it with lighter fluid and torch it.
All right, I got a sticky note. Yeah, I got it right there.
Fire!
Okay.
Cool. All right, man. So what's our topic for next week?
Oh, our topic for next week. Let me think. Let me dig deep. No, that's not fair. We already talked about it. Let's liquid. Liquid is what we talked about.
Liquid is the topic for next week. Liquid. And that could be any liquid. That could be a drop of water from the faucet or an eyedropper all the way up to an ocean, right?
Yeah, liquid. However that interpretation is of liquid.
Well, maybe you should put a box around that because technically humans are, what are we, 70, 80% liquid? So, taking pictures of people could be liquid. I don't know.
Yeah, but in the context of the images, that one's going to stand out kind of odd when everybody else is doing rivers and waters and splashes and drips and
long
stuff.
Exposures and stuff, yeah. But,
yeah.
Don't interpret that too widely. So liquid.
And I think it's only fair that since you called me out on the fire, and I think you need to go shoot an image for liquid.
Done. Liquid.
Not wine. Not whiskey.
Mountain Dew? Could I do Mountain?
Oh yeah.
Mountain Dew? Does it have to be? Well, ice is liquid, right? It's just in a different form.
Yeah. Hey, whatever. I think it's up to, it's the artistic interpretation. It's up to the creative to create what they want.
I have some ideas. Liquid. I'm in it. I'm in this one.
Nice.
You heard it. Gauntlet thrown. All right, TWiP Pro. Troy is going to, well, you have a special teacher's pass to submit flaming ice cream next week, but
okay.
But I will join the fray and submit something that's somehow liquid. Or liquid in some form or another.
Yeah. I might do a liquid too. I like that idea. Like that liquid idea.
Not bad. All right, man, that's it for this episode or this critique session. This was number 18. Troy Miller, you are at imageryconcepts.com, right?
I am. Yep.
imageryconcepts.com. Check out Troy's flaming work over there. All kinds of cool fine art stuff that Troy does. It's very, very inspiring, intimidating, and amazing, and dangerous looking. So
yeah, Imagery Concepts is the wedding work. SpicyJello.com. You can go see some things that lit on fire.
Oh, right. That's right. I always get those mixed up. Yeah. Imagery Concepts is the wedding work, and SpicyJello.com is the flaming fine art stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, man. Well, thanks for spending the time to do this today. This has been, once again, fantastic and very fun.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, man. See you next time.
Take care, boss.
Peace. This is TWiP.